Hello. Today again I'm with a very special person. He is a well-known NRI businessman and well-known philanthropist. Yes, I'm with Lord Swraj Paul. There is some change there in UK student visa policy, and because of that, in 2010-11 there were 41,000 students, Indian students, getting education over there in UK. In 2012 it came down to 31,000. So now that there is decline of 22%, 23%. And you actually said that because you are the chancellor of two university over there. And you also said that, no, this should be changed, this should be more liberal. What needed to be done now?
I think first of all, when David Cameron came here, he has promised to look into it. I personally have condemned the policy of this both publicly and in private. We are looking at the foreign students in more than just ways. I think partly because I very strongly think that when there is a mixture of international students, there is a lot to learn from each other.
True, the culture difference and also
because it is a part of the education.
Yes,
it is a part of a better world.
True.
In my view, it has been a very narrow policy of the government. I was delighted when we were able to persuade Tony Blair when he became the Prime Minister that we should encourage foreign students to come. We should, not only that foreign students should be allowed to work for 2 years at least, so that they get an experience of the country. There is in Britain a problem, but it's not a problem of India or developing countries, it's a problem of the EEC. They have on their own signed the contract. Nobody forced them to sign the contract that they want to part. So I think personally from a democratic point of view, I do not agree with that. Most of the universities are pressing for it. As you might have seen in the press, almost 70 chancellors. We wrote a joint letter about this thing. So let us see what happens.
On work visa, this was really amazing for me that you should get at least £20,000 offer from a recognized institution or company. There is one more restriction that total 20,700 students only can get these kind of visa.
See, my view is only one. Yes, there is an abuse of the done by some immigrants. But there must be a better and more sensible method of containing that abuse than to try to stop the visas. I don't agree with that.
Before going further, it's time to watch a special report on Lord Swraj Paul.
Lord Swraj Paul is one of the most famous Indian origin entrepreneurs based in Britain. He was born in Jalandhar in 1931. His father ran a small foundry and used to make steel buckets and farming equipments. Swraj Paul did his graduation from the Punjab University and subsequently obtained a master's degree in mechanical engineering from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US. After his return to India, Swraj Paul joined the APJ group, which his father had founded. Destiny took him to London in 1966, where he went for his daughter's leukemia treatment and stayed there forever. Swraj Paul started his business in Britain in 1968. After acquiring one steel unit, he went on to acquire more units and founded the Capro Group in the year 1978. Lord Swraj Paul has won several honours and awards. He was knighted by the British Queen in the year 1978 and became the Lord Paul of Marylebone and a member of the House of Lords. Lord Swraj Paul was awarded the Padma Bhushan in 1983. He was bestowed with the Pro-Chancellorship of the Thames University in 1998.
Lord Paul, you are a very big businessman. You have experience of over 50 years as a good businessman. Indian economy, research says that by 2025, India will be world 5th largest economy. But if we see the environment over here, the political environment, investment friendly environment, I think some aggressiveness is required from Government of India. Your suggestion?
I think First of all, you must understand one thing. The world economy is in real difficult shape.
True.
And it is spread out. Now, India, for the last 5 years, had escaped it.
Right.
Because this crisis came from the banking crisis
True.
in the Western world. I mean, the banks really had policies which are just unimaginable. They got completely uncontrolled and so the abuse in the banking system is man-made, and that is why the crisis. And the governments, whether it's United States, whether it's Britain, whether it's Europe, had to bail out the banks.
Right.
Because if they didn't, then people suffer.
True.
You are able to control and a lot of other industries. But with the banking crisis, it's the depositor to suffer.
Right.
I know when in 2008, the British government at that time went through how to deal with it, the banks who were failing, whether to bail out them or not. Their main consideration was not the banks.
Right.
The main consideration was what will happen to the depositors.
True.
I mean, you are seeing that recently in Cyprus, they had to get back that, okay, at least they should, rescue the small depositor.
Right.
So that was but again, the fact is, wrong has happened, and unfortunately, no government anywhere in the world have sufficient courage to punish the bankers.
True.
The bankers should be taken to task for the abuse they have played on and done with their customers, their clients, etc.
Right.
But that's a separate thing. India, fortunately, and I must historically now congratulate the late Mrs. Gandhi when she nationalized the banks.
True.
And perhaps that has acted as a savior for the banking system in India.
Right.
But now, because of the Indian financial condition, because of the fact that banks have started accumulating a lot of non-performing assets, the banking system is shaken.
Right.
India's own borrowings are growing high.
Right.
We have a good government, a very knowledgeable government. I mean, both when Pranab Mukherjee was the finance minister and now Chidambaram, they are two of the greatest finance ministers you can get anywhere in the world.
Right. And recently you have praised Manmohan Singh as well.
Without any question. I mean, look, he's a very able man. I mean, it was in the context of when the MIT president was there, I said, look, you are in a great country and you are saying Manmohan Singh, you will find him as good and clever a man as you can find anywhere in the world. But India has to put its act together.
Right, true.
Our act in managing somehow the country is, and don't blame the politics. I mean, one thing has to be understood. People say, oh, our parliament, we have a great parliament. The debate in the Indian parliaments are as good as any in the world.
True.
There are some frustrations because if when the government is not going to listen, the parliaments have to make.
Very natural.
No, the opposition job is to oppose. Opposition job is not to praise the government.
Right.
Nowhere in the world. I mean, I have been in the parliament now 17 years. First in oppositions, then on the government side, then on the opposition again. But if you are sitting in the opposition, what do you say? Sit down and say what a marvelous job the government is doing. Your electors will say, what on earth we elected you for?
True, but you know, from last almost 30 years, not a single party in India got the clear-cut majority. It was on the 84 when the Congress got the clear-cut majority. After that, there's in last 30
I think
years.
it's a marvelous thing. I'll tell you what has happened.
Okay.
It has not happened because no party. The regional parties have become much more powerful.
Right.
Which is, perhaps we had great prime ministers. First Panditji, who was a prime minister because of the affection and the gratitude of the people to him and all the leaders
जी.
of who fought
Yeah.
for the freedom.
Yeah.
So it was a tribute to them to keep them as a one party.
Right.
Then the late Mrs. Gandhi, I think, and everybody knows my opinion, I think she's one of the greatest prime ministers. Definitely this country has had, and she has been the greatest prime minister, one of the greatest prime ministers in the world.
If I'll ask you just rank,
Yeah.
so number one will be Indira Gandhi or Nehru ji?
Nehruji was ruled by love and affection of people. Indiraji was a elected political prime minister.
Right. Okay.
So that was the great difference. Speaking completely non-politically, two of the greatest prime ministers in this country was Indiraji and Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
True. It's time to go for a very short break. Please stay tuned. By 2025, we will be the 5th largest economy, but we can achieve this provided if there is some kind of, in Union of India, state government, they work together.
India is such a vast and diversified country that too much control from the center was never going to function.
What steps you think that India should take, make ourselves more investment friendly?
If you want to come to India, here is rule number 1, rule number 3, rule number 5. If you fit in with that, you make the decision and come.
Do you have any plan to do some kind of social work over here?
I would love to do more things.
Right.
But every time I try to do anything, there is some obstruction or the other.
Welcome back. We are in talks with Lord Swraj Paul. In current situation, current political situation, where we see that lots of regional leaders, they are becoming very strong. They are day by day. Do you think that that we do have a federal structure? If the regional leaders, if they will become very powerful, for example, in GST, Government of India wanted to get it done, good and service tax.
Yeah.
They wanted to unify it,
Yeah.
but there is lots of problem with regional leaders. Do you think that these kind of situations will make trouble that will be for the future of India? Because I'm saying that by 2025 we will be the 5th largest economy, but we can achieve this provided if there is some kind of in Union of India, state government, they work together. Your comment?
I don't think the power of the states would make them work, not have create any difficulty in working together. India is such a vast and diversified country that too much control from the center was never going to function.
Okay.
It functioned because Panditji, as I say, they love, then this was going to happen.
Right.
In 1980s, I gave an interview that India is too concentrated in the center. It's not healthy for the country.
Right.
If you see the progress which has been made in the last 20 years, it is because the states competed with each other,
Right.
not because they were controlled by the center. So we have to accept that. It has also made our democracy stronger. I mean, without any question, if you count the top 4 or 5 democratic countries in the world, India is the highest. Then comes the next question, the quality of our leadership.
Right.
They again have this thing, very good people.
Right.
We say, oh, some are uneducated. Why the uneducated person is as good as educated? I mean, if they have been got elected, if they are good enough to have the affection of, and Indian constituencies are great.
Right.
I mean, in Britain, when you have a MP, he stands for the election, he has 25,000-30,000 votes to get. But here, you are talking
1.5 million.
This is 1.5 million. Some of the MPs, I brought once a delegation of the parliamentarians to India. I led the delegation, and we were exchanging views with the parliamentarians here. I mean, our people were shocked when they saw that some of the members don't